And we are live for the return of the Bronx Bomber Babble podcast, episode 15. I am your host, Matt Loves Luigi. And, I don't even know why we're back because since we left, the Yankees have been red hot. So I don't even know what we're doing here. But, tonight we got a four-man crew. It's me, it's Alex, it's Andrew, and we got a new co-host. Say hello to Matt G, but we're just going to call him G since I'm Matt. He's Matt. And we call him G. What's up, G?
What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
I'm not.
Well, then log off now.
Alex is happy to be here.
That's it. That's the podcast.
Thanks for joining in.
That's our show.
I haven't had the pod in a few weeks. Busy with school, just a lot of things going on. But we're back now. It's summer. We're gonna have a lot more time to podcast. And would you look at that? The Yankees have the best record in baseball, along with Boston. But we're not gonna talk about that right now.
They're losing right now, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's currently facing the pitcher that they got no hit against, actually. But yeah, the Yankees have been just probably the hottest team in baseball. The Red Sox got off to that ridiculous start, and the Yankees followed it right up with winning. I mean, just a ridiculous stretch. I don't think they've had a stretch like that in decades. I mean, this is something they went on a stretch that the '98 team really didn't even go on. It's really funny, actually. I think a few days ago was the first time that the Yankees and Red Sox both lost on the same day. That happened for the first time only a few days ago. So that just shows you how just red hot these teams have been. And, it feels good, boys. It feels after that 9-9 start, a lot of Yankee fans just were really, really down on this team. And rightfully so. It was pretty ugly. I think, we almost forget how ugly some of those games were, but it feels good to be back. So, boys, I'm just going to ask you really quick, really generally, what were some of your favorite moments from this awesome stretch the Yankees just went on? Start with you, Andrew.
I'm going to have to say it was the 3 wins in a row in Houston. It was at a point where they're winning a lot against Minnesota. LA was struggling a bit. So those wins were nice, but it wasn't necessarily like a definitive, the Yankees are back, they're here to dominate. And then Gary comes and hits that 9th inning home run off Ken Giles, forces him to punch himself in the face. Ha ha ha. But I think even I think it was the Thursday afternoon game. The afternoon game was even better when they were ahead. Chad Green came in, blew the lead. They rallied again. Glaber had the hit. Judge had the go-ahead fielder's choice. That was the moment to me. That was like, holy crap, this is it. This is for real.
What about you, Alex?
For me, by far my favorite moment of this whole entire stretch was Gardner's triple off of Kimbrel.
Yeah, great game.
Just because that game was so close the entire time, but the Red Sox had the lead, and when they brought in Kimbrel, part of me was like, oh God, Kimbrel's in, but I also just really knew that they still had a shot to come back, and then Gardner hitting that triple, it was fantastic. So far, that's my favorite moment of the entire season so far.
And G, what if you had to pick out one moment? Because I think, to be honest, I think Alex and Andrew might have taken the 2 best ones. I think of that Gary homer and that Gardy triple as the 2 defining moments for me. But what would you say, G?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that Gardner triple only because I was actually listening on the radio when it happened live, and I remember going back, because we had posted that, someone posted the clip and we reposted it on our Twitter of the Sterling call, and I went back and listened to it 10 plus times the next day, and I was like that was like a playoff call, and it's May, and the stadium literally sounded over the radio like it was a playoff game, and he was so hyped. And the fact now that, what was it? The last year they had 5 wins when trailing after 8 innings, and this year they already have 4. And just time and time again throughout the last couple of weeks, it was like, oh, they're down, and they're coming back in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning. It's just, I feel like that moment just perfectly encapsulated the whole stretch, because just more and more every day you're just like, damn, this team is really good.
Yeah, if I'm gonna pick a moment that To me, because being a big Sevy guy, that complete game shutout for Sevy in Houston was just awesome, especially, to keep the scoreless inning streak going. I forget what Houston got to in that third game, but they got shut out back-to-back games at home, and which was just awesome to see, especially after, the way the last ALCS ended with us not being able to hit in Houston. A little bit of taste of their own medicine, but yeah, they're just an awesome stretch.
I'm going to chime back in.
We had 2 rookie walk-offs in that stretch, and no one said that's their favorite moment.
I mean, Andrew, you cut me off. I was about to say we had, I believe, three total walk-offs that stretch, right? And 2 of them by rookies. And
yeah, Gary started it way back against Minnesota.
Well, with Gary, he had the walk-off against Minnesota, but, he had the game-winning home run against Houston. Obviously, that's not a walk-off, but just so many late. And even in the last 2 games over the weekend in which the Yankees lost to Boston and Houston back-to-back days, even in those games, they staged comebacks. They were down 4-0 against Boston and 1 inning tied it up. They were down big early on to Oakland in that game where Gray pitched, but, they fought back. And, of course, they didn't come back, but this team just has fight to them. This team, I think, they've already come back almost as much as they did last year.
And the LA game was awesome too. Remember, they tied the game in the 9th. Did he hit
that's
on in the 10th? So many times they came back late.
Yeah, I mean, there's just numerous games, and the comeback against Cleveland might be that. Was that the same game where Herman had the no-hitter?
Yeah, the no-hitter.
It was him and Cleveland. You're going. That was an awesome game too. Just the amount of games in that stretch that were just awesome classic games, like. Those usually are spread out over the course of a year. And we got them all in, a 3-week span. It's just unbelievable. Even this weekend, it was a classic trap series, right? You get off this brutal stretch, and then you're at home to a team like in the A's who aren't great by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not like the Orioles or Rays either. They have a pretty good lineup and they could beat you. And, that first game they come out and hit you in the mouth. And then that second game, it looks like they're on their way to another win. And you take a game Saturday and you take a game Sunday to keep this stretch going. I think now that's 7 consecutive series the Yankees have won, which I believe, it's been a full month, full 30 days that they haven't lost a series. So, if you don't lose a series over a month, you're probably doing something right.
And also, just to chime back in with one of maybe the funnier moments to me was in that the 2 home run game by Gary, I think, against Minnesota. And, the first one was cool, Oppo, and he hit it into right field. And then the second one was that bomb that he hit into Monument Park, and he hit it, and the pitcher just immediately reacted like he was just like swearing at himself. And it was just, that one was really funny to me because he knew it automatically. That was a bomb.
Yeah, I love anytime someone hits it into Monument Park, you just always, Sterling always just have to mention that it's into Monument Park. One of my favorite things. but let's talk about that Oakland series really quick, being it was the most recent series. Took 2 or 3 from the A's. A's are playing, just around 500 ball coming into that series. And, let's just talk about that game Friday really quick, because that was the ugly game. That the first time I believe a team has scored 10 runs against the Yankees all season. And who else would be on the mound starting when a team scores 10 runs against the Yankees other than Sonny Gray, who
your boy.
As somebody who coming into this season was just not on the Sonny Gray train. A lot of people were, and I can't believe how bad he's been. It's unbelievable. Like his 3 best starts, I believe he's gone 6 innings and given up like 2 or 3 runs.
So what you're saying is you did not think he was going to win the Cy Young this year?
I didn't even think he'd be in like the top 15 of voting. To be honest, I just don't. I've seen like a downward trend for Sonny Gray in the last few years, and he's just really continued it. He's really been one of the worst pitchers in baseball, and it just boils your blood at just how he pitches because he has such great stuff. I mean, when he's on, it's fun to watch, but man, you haven't even gone 7 innings this year, and you call yourself the starting pitcher. And And then just to hear him after the game, I don't remember the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, "Oh, well, like I thought I pitched well, like other than those 2 home runs, like you thought you pitched well, like you thought you pitched well in that Oakland, you were awful. Like how could you say? Someone take it away before I throw my microphone out the window.
Well, it's because he was ahead 0-2 on both guys, I believe, and even Aaron Boone said it the next day that he made a couple of mistake pitches. Which again, if you're going to say you had a good performance, you don't make those pitches. But that's a whole other story. I think what Aaron Boone saw, what Austin Romine gave his feedback, and what Sonny Gray ultimately felt is that he was attacking the zone. He was throwing strikes. He wasn't nibbling as much, and that's an improvement. But then he went from not throwing any strikes to throwing too many good strikes right down the middle. And so I don't really think that's the better alternative.
See, my thing is like Gray reminds me a lot of Pineda, just because he'll get ahead of hitters, and especially in that start, he was attacking them and throwing a lot of strikes, but he just couldn't put them away, and he'd get hit with 2 strikes. So he's like Pineda. He has a lot of potential, but he just cannot harness any of it at all.
I'm going to give you a better comparison than Pineda. Phil Hughes.
Yeah.
I was about to say he's definitely more Phil Hughes to me because just annoying. Really,
I think it's entirely possible. I think it's possible that he could be one of those guys where it's like, he came up and he had a couple good years, and I mean, he still has good stuff. Like, it hasn't gone away, but like maybe he'll never harness like, pitching like an ace when he was pitching for the A's for a couple of years. And like, it's not like this stuff is gone. It's just he's not pitching well. And when you say like, he thought he had a good start, but you still gave up 5 or 6 runs, when he's giving up, a bunch of runs and getting bombed earlier this season, it's because he's not attacking the zone. And now he's giving up a bunch of runs because he is attacking the zone, but he's doing it too well. So I think it's hard for us to really be like, this is why he's not pitching well. But I think, I don't know, it's hard to definitively say like, he's just got to do this because he's done both of those things now and the results still are bad.
Yeah, there's not one specific thing he's doing wrong where like Dellin, the beginning of this year, like I wrote, he was just throwing a lot more strikes and was way more hittable. And then he's been so much better since then. Gray, just I don't know what he could do to be better because he's pitching like how he has been. He just is being bombed, and he's not getting hitters out. It's just
the thing I notice about Gray is, you see, he can't find a healthy medium between nibbling and then just throwing every pitch in the zone. Like he'll get ahead 0-2 and then just throw 3 pitches that aren't even close to anywhere. And you're like, okay, now you're back in the same spot. Like, you just can't find that healthy medium. And listen to this. In all of 8 Gray starts this year, he has walked at least 2 batters. He's walked 3 batters, 2, 2, 4, 5, 3, 2, and 3. That's 24 walks in 38 innings.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty.
He has a 1.84 whip so far this year, so that's good.
It's got to be leading the league, right?
I mean, it's up there.
That's got to be up there. Yeah.
A 6.39 ERA. He hasn't gone the most innings he's on is 6 innings. He's gone 6 innings a few times. Has not gone any more than that. It's unbelievable for a guy that a lot of people had high hopes for, and it's still early. It's definitely still early, but at least with Tanaka last year, like, he was getting bombed. Like, when he just had a bad start, he was just getting ragged on. He was just leaving pitches right down the middle of the plate. And you said, okay, but you still saw flashes. He would still go out against Boston and throw a complete game shot, and you say, oh, okay. Gray hasn't given you that. Like, even those starts against Houston and Cleveland, like, I get both of them are very good teams, but 6 innings, 2 runs, that's a pretty good start. That shouldn't be your best start of the season. Like, people wanted to crown him, like, oh, Gray's back. I'm like, why? Because he went 6 innings and gave up 2 runs in 2 straight starts. That's what a pitcher at his level should be doing most times.
Yeah, when Gray was good, that would be like a mediocre start for him. 6 innings, 2 runs. When he was the ace of the A's, he would be going 8 innings, no runs.
Yeah.
9 strikeouts.
Yeah. Instead of 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, 2 runs, 2 walks.
Did he strike out only 1 guy in this last start? Or was that another start? I'm confusing.
He might have been.
He struck out 2 guys.
That's bad.
Yeah. For a guy with his stuff, he should not be striking out that little guys.
I feel like he doesn't have a lot of left and right movement, though, right? He's just fastball, curveball. So there's no you're changing the eye level, but you're not getting stuff. You're not working inside outside a lot.
Listen to Gray's line from Friday: 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 home runs.
Ugly.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like just real. Like how could you say with that line? Like, oh, I thought I pitched well. Look, you gave up 12 base runners over 5 innings, man. What are you? Anyways, let's move on to Saturday.
Wait, before we get there, we didn't get the official Matt intro.
Oh no, I was gonna do the G intro at the end of the show, because
that's a weird time for it.
We just haven't been, we haven't.
Hey, thanks for listening to me for an hour. Let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Before that, I'll just say one more thing about Sonny Gray. And I guess as it relates to the whole personal catching business, since we've had a couple times through the rotation now, and it's been a couple good ones and a couple bad ones, like, while it's still, beginning of the season, you're still trying to figure this guy out, like, I'm okay to go along with it, especially because Romine's been hitting, decently. But, like, as you get further into the season, I think it's probably, if it doesn't start to turn around, I think you should eventually just go back to putting him with Gary because, like in the playoffs, you're not going to put Austin Romine in there ideally. Like eventually he's going to have to learn to throw to Gary Sanchez.
Well, at this rate, Sonny Gray ain't pitching in the playoffs. I don't think that's a big concern. I think it's more likely Gumby gets a playoff start over Sonny Gray at this point.
I mean, Gumby has to come back and, actually not be injured first.
That's true. I mean,
you also have to see how, DeNorman pans out for the next couple months.
Yeah, that's another guy who we're going to be talking about because, I mean, what was it, 8 1/3 straight scoreless innings or hitless innings to start his career as a starting pitcher?
And then he gave up 5 runs, but
then he gave up. Then he kind of blew up a little bit, but you got to expect that. He was. I really liked Herman though. I think he has really good stuff. I like the life on his fastball. He's got a little bit of movement.
And he saved that game that Montgomery got hurt. You go back to the Houston series. He got hurt in the first inning. Came and shut the door for 4 innings.
Yeah, that started his whole, his hot streak. He 4 shutout innings against Houston, and then just 6 no-hit innings against Cleveland. That's decent. Yeah.
I mean, did any of you guys hear what he actually had to say after the game? Because I mean, I was at the game. I wasn't really following the post game, but like it wasn't. There was a string of warm days, and then that one was kind of breezy and kind of wet. Like, he breathed through those first couple innings, and then he just stopped throwing strikes. Like, so I'd be interested to see if he had anything to say. Like, if he just lost the grip on the ball, or if he, I don't know, if he just lost it. Like, he literally just stopped throwing strikes. It was kind of like he flipped a switch, except in the wrong direction.
I didn't hear what he said, but I would think it's more along the lines of he was trying to pitch to the batters like more carefully, just because it seemed like it was the second or third time through the order that the A's got to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe they got that first hit off him in the 4th inning, and then he immediately got a double play to get out of it.
Yeah,
but then he gave up 5 runs in, I believe, the 4th, and then he was brought back out and gave up another run.
Can we go back and shame ourselves for a second? It wasn't publicly said, but we had our group me chat. We were talking, and I remember it was specifically me and Alex. We were talking after he got that double play. We just thought, like, imagine this rotation in 2 years. Sonny's gone. Cece's going to be retired. We got Herman as our number 3. And then the next day came and got blasted. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, we should get ahead of ourselves a little bit.
Herman's our future number 3.
Like, and then we got humbled real quick.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that tends to
happen. I think he definitely does have good stuff though. So
no, he really does.
I really like his
might not be off that track, as much of an overreaction as it is to say that after one start, it's still an overreaction to go back completely in the other direction after one bad start, because he still does have really good stuff.
Oh yeah, he does.
And his next start, I think he's going to have a little bit of scheduled to face the Royals Saturday night. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the Royals are pretty bad. I mean, they can hit, but
the entire AL Central is bad.
Yeah, that's
including the Indians.
Yeah, the Indians have.
Yeah, the Indians are what, 500?
They'll figure it out, but yeah, right now they're average baseball team, the Indians.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game Saturday, it was a very exciting game. Gee, you were there. That was a great game to go to. How was the atmosphere in the stadium that day? Because I'm looking at the attendance. There was 41,000 there, so decent amount.
I'd say, that was definitely not the amount of people who were there for the whole time, and then especially after it rained a little bit, and then the extra innings and people left, but it was definitely still fun. Like, it was a good, at the most exciting points of the game, you definitely still feel it, and there was definitely a buzz. I think the thing that I was happiest about in general was Herman left, whatever it was, after the 5th inning, and then the bullpen came in and threw 6 scoreless innings. Green came out, and I was watching. Me and my friend were watching the gun, and they were just blowing him away. Like, 97. Betances right after him. He came through, and he was throwing 98. 99, just blowing him away. Like, people got up for that stuff, and that was really cool and exciting in the stadium. And then the Chapman roller coaster, and then the Gardner play at home where he threw the double play at home plate was it was good. Like, on a day where in the past you'd be like, oh, it's kind of rainy and gross and people aren't there, but like, people still got hyped for it.
Yeah, and to be more specific with that bullpen, the Yankees bullpen that day, which Holder, Green, Betances, Chapman, and AJ Cole all pitched, they combined for 6 innings, no hits, 10 strikeouts.
How many walks, though? That's the real question.
I think 5 or 6.
5.
Yeah.
Holder, and that was only Chapman and Cole. Holder,
Yeah.
Betances did not walk anybody.
And Cole walked the first 2 guys he faced, and then got 6 in a row out, right?
Yeah, it was funny. Like, I was watching the game with my dad, and like Cole comes out and walks first 2 guys. My dad's like, "Oh, what is it with this guy?" And then he just starts mowing guys down. Just looks like invincible.
That's one of those situations that Aaron Boone would have gotten, crucified. But, as much as the Yankees have like a ridiculous bullpen, I mean, you can't use all the best pieces in a tie game that could go on for God knows how long. Like,
he made the right move for sure.
Well, you
Cole
can't
hadn't pitched in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, no, in that situation, you also can't really have D-Rob pitch because he had pitched the night before and given up 3 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Terrible tonight.
Yeah, D-Rob has looked a little bit shaky this season. Not a lot of people have talked about that, but definitely has not been his usual self. But
he's had some good outings, but he's also had some ones where he's just been really, really off.
Yeah. Another guy I want to give a shout out to, Jonathan Holder, since he's, I believe, our very own. I don't want to mispronounce his last name, Andrew, but I believe one of our writers recently wrote an article about Holder, about how since he's come back from AAA, he's been great. I think he has like 9 2/3 shutout innings, 2 hits since he's got called back up.
Yeah,
he's been on point, man. And Holder's a guy that I really never thought too highly of, but hey, he's pitching really well right now.
Shout the man out. Give it a try. You got to shout out the man.
It's K-A. No, I'm not going to mispronounce. I hate mispronouncing people's names. It's happened to me all my life.
Jonathan Kohut.
Kohut. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. If I pronounced it wrong.
He wrote a really good piece about Jonathan Holder.
Yeah. It's
unfortunately for Jonathan, he also wrote a really good piece about a week ago about Sonny Gray and how he had more success with Austin Romine as his personal catcher, which the stats backed it up, and then he went out the next day and absolutely got blasted. So
we shouted him out, we built up his credibility, and Andrew's just like, nope. Andrew just said, nope, he was wrong about Sonny Gray. We're done. But yeah, that Saturday's game obviously ends with Neil Walker walk-off. Insert your joke there about that. But Neil Walker, he's, for somebody that was screaming for him to be designated for assignment a week or 2 ago, he's proven that he's a pretty good guy to have on the squad, especially if he's going to be the backup first baseman, because this is something we'll get into a little bit later in the show. But, Greg Bird coming back, Neil Walker might be that perfect backup first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's Sunday's game was a Mother's Day, had the pink unis, which I know a lot of people aren't fans of. A lot of people are. They went. I don't know if I was down with like the all pink hats. Like I don't that was kind of weird to me.
It was
Like,
weird.
I
It was
did
like
not
a
like the
light
pink
pink
hats.
too. It wasn't the neon.
Yeah.
That was what I'm saying. It was almost like you looked at the hats and he's like, that's like a weird pink.
I had no problem with like the pink like sleeves and stuff.
Oh, none.
But
I
the
love
hats were just really weird.
Because they were a lighter shade.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Sunday's game, it was a Sevy Sunday. Isn't it crazy that like a standard Sevy start now? I was like, yeah, 6 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts.
And like that's not even
It was
that's a good start for him.
That's
That's
what I'm
not a
saying.
great
Like,
start.
he was decent.
Yeah.
Like a
100
quote unquote
106 pitches.
pedestrian start by Luis Severino was Sonny Gray's best start of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, not even because Sonny Gray's best start was 6 innings, 2 runs, and Sevy went 6 innings, 1 run this start. But yeah, no, it's definitely just goes to show you ERA is now 2.14. He's 6-1 on the season. The 106 pitches over 6 innings, that's definitely something that's definitely not a pitch count that you want to have. But, I think he's proven that. I forget what exactly his pitch was, but I mean, I think his 100th pitch or his 90th pitch of the game was 98. I mean, just so Verlander-esque. I always think of just old, like prime Verlander in the last inning of like one of his no-hitters, just almost hitting 100. And yeah, I mean, Sevy I just love watching him blow that fastball guys right in the zone. And it's something that, I mean, if you, I love Tanaka, but if you're Tanaka in his dugout, you're probably just so mad watching that. Like, God, like, why can't I do that, man? He just throwing his fastball up in the zone, just no worries in the world. It's 97. Sit down. But yeah,
Tanaka used to be able to throw that fast.
We never really saw him throw that hard though when he
that's
came
what I'm
here.
saying.
He's
Like,
always
Tanaka
been
probably
like
looking
mid
at that.
90s.
That's what I'm saying. Tanaka's probably looking at that, knowing that, yeah, like shit. It's nice.
Well, I mean,
like when I was in Japan, that's all I used to do.
Tanaka doesn't throw many four-seam fastballs in general because that's like the one pitch that he really gets blasted on. Every other pitch is
percentage. Yeah, it's gone down each year in the bigs. His fastball percent, how much he throws.
I think it was like 2015. His percentage of four seamers, which is like it was like 30% of them were hit out or something like that. It was insane.
2015 had a good year too. That's interesting.
Yeah. He wasn't bad. 2016 was the year he should have won the Cy Young though.
He was really good in 2016. But yeah, Sunday's game, not a lot happened. Chad Green, Betances both looked great. Chase and Shreve, a little bit of a venture in that last inning. But the man of the day really was Giancarlo Stanton. 4 for 4, had a home run, 3 RBIs. He's got that average up to 252. He's doing well. I think we all saw like Katie Sharp's stat about how he almost has like identical numbers as to last year through 40 games, which clearly doesn't mean he's on pace to once again hit almost 60 home runs, because I don't think you could rely on him.
Hit 16 home runs in a month.
Like, you can't rely on him hitting like 18 in a month and like 30 over 2 months. I mean, he could definitely do it again, but it's just good to see the Big G finally start to get in a bit of a groove, especially at the stadium, because that was a big issue. Like, where most of his big games, his big performances were away from the stadium, and that was by far his best game at Yankee Stadium. 4 for 4, just man. I still just don't like his stance. Like, it still just makes me mad, like, watching him, because I'm like, dude, that looks so uncomfortable. Like, that's definitely not like the best.
It shouldn't work.
Yeah, like that's definitely not. There's a better way to stand in the box. Like, there has to be. But man, when he just gets a fastball like outside corner and just hits it into right center, it's a thing of beauty. It really is. Like
the home run that he hit against the Red Sox, where it was literally just like a laser beam into the left field lower deck, like. Stuff like that makes you think like, damn, he's really close to just squaring the ball up. Like, his swing is so, I mean, the stance is definitely awkward. His swing is so violent though. Like, his bat is just so fast through the zone. Like, he really does just punish the ball when he makes like solid contact like that. And he's definitely, he hit a couple hard balls. He hit that hard, liner over third base yesterday. Like, just starting to hit the ball harder, more.
He shattered his bat. I don't know if you watch the replay, there's a huge splinter that comes off right from his handle, and the ball still rocketed down the line.
Yeah. He looks so much more comfortable playing Yankee Stadium now. Or like beginning of the season, you could just tell he was really letting the pressure of playing Yankee Stadium get to him. Mm-hmm. But now he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's not letting the crowd get to him at all.
Yeah. Like, I remember, I think it was during Harper's rookie year. Like, I went to a Marlins Nationals game, and Stanton hit a ball out to left field. It had to get out in like less than 3.5 seconds. It was just like a straight line drive. And anytime I see him just hit one of those line drive home runs at Yankee Stadium, it just is saying like this is like it's so awesome because you have Judge and Stanton, and Judge usually hits homers that are in the air for a good 5 seconds, where Stanton usually just hits line drives, and it's just so beautiful to watch how two power hitters each hit like their home runs.
Mm-hmm.
But
Judge is funny because you think like, oh, they're both these just big hulking strong guys. Like Giancarlo has this awkward, violent, like uncomfortable looking swing, and Judge has he's got a nice bat through the zone. He's got a beautiful follow through and finish. Like the ball that he hit to right field off the wall to start yesterday's game, the double was he just kind of swung through it and he powered it out to right field, and it just like that high finish and follow through. He just got a beautiful swing. So it's just funny because they're, same size and they hit these monstrous home runs. They're totally different though.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I wanted to just talk about because, there's a lot of questions, especially when your team is 16 games over 500. You start to find things to kind of like complain about and to debate about. And,
nitpick.
You start to nitpick a little bit. And, one of the things that people have started to talk about is, with the, Greg Bird comeback on the horizon. And, you obviously, like, I'm the type of person that, like, hey, I'm not going to believe Greg Bird's back until he is in a lineup for the Yankees and until he's on the field, right? But, assuming Greg Bird comes back in the next couple of weeks, someone's going to need to be sent down. And, it's obviously not going to be Gleyber Torres. Ronald Torreyes isn't getting sent down, hitting over 300 and just doing his job perfectly. And it doesn't look like Andujar is going to get sent down either. I think if Andujar was going to get sent down, it would have happened like today. I think them sending Drury to AAA just shows you like, hey, right now Andujar's at third baseman. He's earned that spot. He's playing well enough to, keep playing that spot. But, I'm someone under the impression, I'm going to let you guys take it from here, that, once Greg Bird comes back, Tyler Austin is going to be heading down to AAA, and Neil Walker is going to be the backup first baseman. And, I think Brandon Drury is going to find his spot on the MLB roster once he gets his vision sorted out. Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
I agree with that. I really think I'm a huge Tyler Austin guy. I think he's the type he might not hit over 240 in a season, but he could hit 25, 30 homers if he played consistently.
Dan Uggla, I'm telling you, Tyler Austin could be like a Dan Uggla type of player.
Yeah, but he's been really bad recently.
I think he's over his last 20.
Yeah, I was thinking you were saying that before in the group me, but I think if Bird comes back, the Yankees are definitely going to want to see what they have from Bird because he could be so good. So they'll send down Austin, and just go with Bird and Walker. And with the case of Drury, he's not going to spend the rest of the year in AAA. He's definitely going to be playing more. He's going to be back on the team at some point. It just depends on when. Like, if obviously the Yankees get another injury, but he'll be back at some point, I would think. Probably soon. It depends on how everyone else is playing. Like, if Andujar all of a sudden gets into a slump, they're obviously going to bring Drury back up.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how the rest of the team does with the case of Drury.
Well, there's one player who's colder than Tyler Austin right now, and his name is Didi Gregorius. No, I'm totally kidding. Didi is to his like the coldest everything, but I mean, I'm not even going to begin to entertain the fact that they would send him down.
DDFA.
Oh,
hey, we had D Deeds yesterday, so
yeah, that was a funny video. I saw that.
No. I think it has to be Tyler Austin, and then to be honest, I don't see how you find room for Drury without an injury. Tyler Austin will be the sacrificial lamb when Bird's ready, and the only way they bring back Drury is if they shorten their bullpen, which I don't think they want to do. So either David Hale or AJ Cole pay the price, or a middle infielder, or even potentially like an Aaron Hicks gets hurt. Because Drury does have experience playing the outfield. If they have to put him in left field, I know he played a bunch there with Arizona. He could do that. I don't know if that's really their plan right now, but it's something that push come to shove, they could use him there. Ultimately, I think they got to make sure he's seeing straight, not even seeing the ball, just seeing his fingers in front of his own hand, in front of his own face straight. And he'll be down probably until someone gets injured.
The thing is, though, like, even if they do bring up Drury and sacrifice someone from the bullpen, they're going to have Canley and Warren back in the near future too. So you'd have to think that Cole and Hale are going to be the sacrificial lambs for that.
Yeah, that's true.
I would think they'd send Cole down just because I know he's young and
he doesn't have options, right? He was
he
DFA'd
doesn't?
by the Nationals, so I don't think he had options with them. Or if the Nationals would have kept him.
Okay, well then, yeah, the Yankees will just probably DFA both of them to get Warren and Holder back, or not Holder, Canley back. So that there's two options right there that you can't really have as a way of Drury getting on the roster.
Yeah, that's a good point. Herman, I don't know how long Montgomery's going to be out, but they're going to need Herman for that fifth starter role. And yeah, I think they do want to keep that long bullpen, especially with just how much Boone likes to use different guys in the bullpen. And yeah, I think like Torreyes is just he's playing the perfect role right now. I mean, just like he did last year, just that utility guy that could I just love Torreyes, how he just goes up there and hacks. I think he has to have like one of the lowest pitches like per at bat in baseball. He has to, because the guy doesn't see any more than like 4 pitches per at bat. But yeah, I just think that Drury somehow is going to find his spot on this team, because the Yankees front office just really likes him. And guys, Brandon Drury with good vision could be the best baseball player ever. We just don't know it yet. I mean, this guy could come out and be hitting like 360 with 10 home runs in a month. We don't know.
I was definitely surprised to see that they had activated him and just put him in AAA today. It seemed like it was a little out of the blue, but I mean, I don't know. I think we've seen differing reports recently that he's still experiencing symptoms, and then but Cashman had gone on the radio recently and said they expect him to be activated sooner rather than later. I think if he is still experiencing stuff, then it's probably easier for them to just have him be in AAA and just play in games with less of a spotlight. And I mean, people always get injured. So, if someone gets injured, he'll come back up just because, he's probably the best player on that team, the most qualified anyway. But it seems like we're all pretty, it's pretty agreed upon that Tyler Austin's going to go, because he had some big hits early in the season, and ever since maybe the suspension, he's just been really bad. And Neil Walker he's starting to come on. He seems like so many of the rallies that were started with a Neil Walker, a base hit or a walk. And even though he's still only batting .210, he has an on-base percentage of .300. So, and he could play first. He was seen taking grounders at third the other day. He's played second. God knows where else he can play. So I just think if Tyler Austin was still hitting, it would be a hard decision, but I really don't think it's all that difficult.
I agree. I completely agree. A guy that, I think since our last episode, this guy was still in AAA. So we're just going to talk about him a bit because he definitely deserves it. Gleyber Torres is really damn good at baseball. Since he's been called up in 69 at-bats, he's hitting .319, 3 homers, 12 RBIs. And not to mention, the guy is a phenomenal fielder. So, guys, are we fully in love with the 21-year-old phenom, Gleyber Torres, yet?
I don't think it's possible for you not to be.
Yeah.
So I think if you were on the fence about him, you could not have not loved him after he hit the walk-off home run.
Yeah,
like that just sealed it, I
mean, he has the big hit in Houston. He's just like playing a great second base, like game in, game out. Then he has the walk-off. And by the way, that walk-off homer, Did any of us think that ball was getting out? Off
I
No.
thought it was a fly out to
Yeah, I was
shallow
like,
center.
yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, all right, I'm like, that's looking good. I'm like, and then
Oh, it's going.
center field
It's
keeps
going
going back. I said,
still.
oh, extra base. I'm like, extra base hit, and then that. But do you see the guys in the bullpen just look? I'm like, wait a minute.
Wouldn't that have won the game in? Wasn't it second and third? He would have been a second fly to win the game in, right?
I think it was first and second.
Yeah, it was first and second.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty pleasantly surprised that he's been hitting home runs. I mean, maybe it's me. I just didn't expect him to come up and, I expect him to come up and, get some hits, spray some extra base hits because he was hitting really well in AAA. But the fact that it's been a couple weeks and he already has like 3 or 4 home runs, like, I don't know. I'm just excited, that he get up to that, 15, 20 homer mark. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Well, when he first came up, like the first week or so, he wasn't really hitting for that much power. He was just hitting a bunch of singles. And then against the Indians, he hit his first home run. And that's kind of what started the spark and power.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got an awesome bat. I honestly expected him to pop out a few home runs just because he was such like a highly touted prospect. And, you're not that highly touted of a hitter if you can't pop a few out. And yeah, man, he doesn't have like great power, but he's definitely a guy that I see hitting, 20, 25 homers a year for most of his career. And, something I've seen on Twitter that, I don't know if it rubbed me the wrong way or just I don't see it yet, but do you guys see the Cano comparisons at second? Because I've seen them. And, so people have said that, like, oh, this is like the smoothest second baseman I've seen like since Cano, and he might even be like smoother than Cano. And in my opinion, there is no second baseman smoother than Robbie Cano. I mean, that man, like, he could feel the ground ball and throw it to first from like left field without effort. Like Robbie Cano.
Yeah, I think it helps the fact that Torres is a shortstop by trade, so that helps. That he has
Gleyber Torres is most likely going to be the Yankee second baseman for the foreseeable future, being that, the guy at short is probably not going anywhere. So, like, obviously Gleyber's a shortstop, but for the time being, he's a second baseman.
He doesn't look out of place at all, though. Like,
right.
Absolutely. I was about to say he's the best defensive second baseman we've had since Cano.
And I love Didi. But you look at how smooth Gleyber Torres is. I just, part of me wonders, like, I'd like to see him just get a chunk of time at shortstop just because he'd probably be really impressive.
Well, I think as the season goes on, I think he will get, like, if Didi has an off day,
they'll use Torres. I don't think they're going to move Torres. I don't think they're going to mess with him.
So? You think so? I don't know. I think they could put Gleyber at short if they were good, because I don't know about you guys. Toe on the left side of the infield scares the hell out of me. Like, anytime Toe has to make a throw from third base, I cover my eyes.
With his noodle arm.
Like, oh my god! Like,
he'll like be worse than Chase Headley.
Oh my god! I knew you were gonna say pouring out for Chase Headley. Who just got traded by the Padres. He had like 6 hits in like 20 games or something. So pouring out for him. He's hitting like 113. But
poor guy.
Yeah, no, but honestly, though, like, Gleyber is just like that's the thing that's just taken me back, because even you see a lot of these guys, these highly touted prospects, come up and a lot of them will be bad in the field. It's a normal thing that it takes guys a while to become really good fielders. And I know he's made like 1 or 2 bad plays. He's made a couple mistakes, I think a couple errors, but I mean, he just strikes me as a guy that is going to bring home at least a few gold gloves. I mean, he's just awesome in the field.
I think that's funny because of how bad the Yankees were to start the season in the field. And then the young guys came up and kind of brought this energy. And now that seems to be solidifying a little bit. Like, maybe let's
be fair. We had a guy at third base who couldn't see first base and was throwing blindly.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, like, our third baseman was blind. Like, come on.
That's one thing with Andujar. Like, his whole the whole reason the Yankees were keeping him down was because of his defense, and he's been perfectly fine defensively.
The plays that he has.
I hate to say this. I hate to say this. Miguel Andujar, according to stats, very analytical stats, is the worst defensive third baseman in baseball right now. That's not That's not me talking. Those are the stats.
I have not seen that.
He only has 2 errors on the season. So like
all right, guys, I'm gonna pull this up right now because I'm pretty sure his UZR is like -3 already.
Oh dear God!
Think Derek Jeter.
I don't look because I saw it. Oh, you go on, G.
Derek Jeter. I mean, I love Derek Jeter. That was like my idol. You know, he relied more upon like positioning and know-how rather than just like great range because he really didn't have that. Like, so Derek Jeter won Gold Gloves because he just made every play. Like Andujar seems like, maybe we all overreacted a little bit. Like he's making the plays that are hit to him, but he doesn't have the instinctual. He doesn't make a lot of other plays. Like
that's true. There was that one play
by him down the line
against the A's. Yeah,
that way he threw to first base when he had a clear shot at the runner coming out.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that you see and you just say, "Ugh." Like that's a bad baseball play. Like you should know right away to throw home.
Hey guys, check this out. So here it is. I just looked it up. I'm on Fangraphs right now. So in 252 innings in the field so far, Miguel Andujar has a -3.6 UZR.
That's pretty good.
Not cute, and already -6 defensive runs saved. So he only has 2 errors, but
all right, I take back everything I just said.
Yeah.
We spent 5 minutes shaming Alex's opinion.
I think that what Alex meant to say is Andujar hasn't been like just downright dreadful, downright
like the guy test. He makes all the plays.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if you showed Andujar to a casual. If you showed Andujar to a casual fantasy, and they wouldn't, say, "Oh, this guy's awful at third." But yeah, it's just stuff that you like. I was saying this to Andrew earlier. Doesn't it seem like Andujar has dove after like 15 balls this year? He hasn't gotten any of them. Like
he's gotten a few.
It just seems like every time a ball is hit down the line, like you see Andujar dive after, and he just doesn't get it. You're like, like after I noticed it the other day, I said, "Man, Andujar just doesn't get those, does he?"
So he's about 4 or 5 inches taller than Ronald Torres, but he looks the exact same thing. Like Torres just plowing at balls because he can't get to.
You notice it a lot less when he's spraying extra base hits all over the yard.
That's true.
Oh yeah, his bat has been great. He's hitting 282. I mean, his on base percentage, man. That's like he's got to improve that. And anyone want to guess without looking? Anyone want to guess how many walks does Miguel Andujar have in 131 at bats this year?
I'm gonna say he has 4.
5, 4. G, what's your guess?
I'd say no more than like 6 or 7.
Okay, so no more than 6 or 7, 5, 4. He has 3 walks.
Oh dear God!
A 282 average and a 296 on base percentage.
That's
like, see, like
not what you want.
Like, it's not what you want. Like, see, I'm a big like on base percentage guy, and I guess everyone should be a big on base percentage.
He swings at so much.
Yeah,
he swings at everything, but he makes contact with everything too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely got a great bat, but he just has to learn how to hit. He just has to learn how to take your walk. Look what Didi's doing this year. I know Didi's ice cold right now, but even with his 260 average, his on base percentage is still 350. And it's still early in the year, a lot could change. But for Didi, that's very, very good. His on base percentage last year was pretty bad, and to start the year, he slowed down with the walks, but to start the year, he was walking a lot. And I think
he still walked. I think it was like close to 20 times this year, and he had 25 walks all last year.
Yeah, he has 21 walks this year. But I think that's what Didi in this his recent cold spell. That's what I think he's kind of gotten away from. He hasn't been as he hasn't been as patient when he was in that hot streak. A lot of those at bats he was walking and just waiting for his pitch. Another guy, obviously, we want to shout out as always. I think we should shout him out on every show. Is Aaron Judge, because he's proving he's one of the best players in baseball once again. Like a lot of people just didn't think. A lot of people thought that Judge would have a real letdown year, and man, he's been probably even better than last year at this point, especially in the field. I mean, isn't it ridiculous that he got an error for that throw? And I believe in Sunday's game.
The one that Gary couldn't handle?
Yeah, it was like a short hop. Like, he got an error for that. Like, that was a great throw. Like, you see, that's like something that just makes me mad about like baseball, where it's like that throw by Judge. If you're little league player, whatever, and you make that throw home, that's a great throw. Like your coach is happy with you. You know, that ball's a bit more up. That's a perfect throw. But yet you get an error on that because the runner advances and the ball just got by it. This doesn't.
And that was the only run Sevy allowed too. He would have pitched
Yeah.
a 6 shutout innings if that play's made at the plate.
Yeah. But yeah, Judge. Read his stat line real quick. 311 this year so far. 11 homers, 35 runs batted in, 440 on base percentage, OPS over 1,000. Yeah, he's pretty good. He is pretty good. Let's preview this. It's not really a series, just 2-game set against the Nationals from the nation's capital. I always enjoy these games. Anytime we play teams like the Cubs or the Dodgers or these NL teams you just don't face a lot. It's always fun. I'd much rather face an NL team like the Nationals than the Marlins in terms of pure viewing pleasure. Even the Marlins gave us quite a beating that one game. A little bit of disappointing news because Max Scherzer was not supposed to start originally. If you check the ESPN app, over the weekend, Max Scherzer's name was not in for Wednesday, but it is now. So, the Yankees, I believe they're going to face Gio Gonzalez on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. It will be a Tanaka Tuesday. Tanaka will be going. And on Wednesday, it will be the big man, CeCe, on the mound, looking to continue his year. He's got a 2.2 ERA right now. He's been great against Max Scherzer, Mad Max, the 2-time reigning NL Cy Young winner, a guy that just looks like he's on his way to a 3rd straight Cy Young this year. I mean, Max Scherzer, especially with Kershaw being on the DL the last 3 seasons, Max Scherzer to me is the best pitcher in baseball right now.
It's not even close.
Yeah, honestly. he's just.
It's kind of close. Corey Kluber's right there with him.
I was about to say I wouldn't say it's not close, but to me, I guess to me it's not close because I just think so highly of Scherzer, and I've been wanting to put him ahead of Kershaw for like the last couple of years, and I haven't been able to. But
Kershaw never stays healthy.
Yeah.
Kershaw hasn't been healthy in 2 years.
3rd straight year on the DL for Kershaw, even if it's just another short stint. But yeah, what are you guys feeling going into this national series? Another note, obviously we always forget this game's in our ballpark road, and yeah, we're gonna see Tanaka with the bat in his hand, and we're gonna see CeCe with the bat in his hands, and I still hope we get one of those like CeCe Brewer home runs because I love those, man. Those are great.
So I was watching last night. The Sunday Night Baseball game was the Diamondbacks versus the Nats. And the Nats lineup is really weird just because it's full of just guys that are kind of forgotten, but they're still really good. Like last night, they had Mark Reynolds and Howie Kendrick in their lineup.
Wasn't it Mark Reynolds' season debut?
Yeah, it was his season debut. He hit 2 home runs, which is pretty good.
But and no one wants to sign this guy.
Yeah. I literally tweeted that.
Oh, okay. Well,
bro, you're not up on Alex's Twitter, bro?
Come on.
I'm sorry, I don't get those notifications.
Wow, okay. No, but it's weird because I don't think of the Nats as a team like the Yankees where you think everyone plays for the Yankees, like we were saying before, but the Nats have a lot of guys who just are late in their careers, like Kendrick and Reynolds, and they're producing for him. So it'll be interesting because the Nats have been they're pretty good this year.
They're red hot.
Yeah, they did. They swept the D-backs in 4-game series. One thing that I thought was pretty interesting is Harper is like 3 for his last 20-something. He's actually been struggling. He hit a bomb last night, but they said before that he was 2 for his last 25. And he has 13 home runs, but he's only hitting like 240. Mm-hmm. So I think if the Nats offense is on, I think we might be in for a rough series against Tanaka and Sabathia. But there's also the chance that, they're not as good because their offense really was not great yesterday. From what I was watching, they really could not hit. It was basically Reynolds hitting bombs.
Mm-hmm. And so, a little bit of context, the Nationals started off 11-16. They're now 24-18.
Yeah, so they've been on fire.
As hot as we were.
Yeah.
And against, in that time, they played the Pirates. They played the Phillies, who were having a decent year. The Padres, and then they swept the Diamondbacks over 4
Yeah,
games.
so
The
it's
Diamondbacks
not
are the best
like
record in the NL.
it's not like how the Red Sox had their really good start, but they had also played 10 games against the Rays. The Nats played the Diamondbacks, who are really good this year.
The best team in the
Phillies, who
National
are
League.
decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Phillies, who are having a decent year. The Pirates are having a decent start to the year.
Pirates are half game out of first place in the Central.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Phillies are actually ahead of the Nationals still.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are. Let's see. It was by only a game or two, maybe a half a game, but yeah, the Nationals are actually in third place right now in their own division.
Wow.
In spite of
the Braves are in first place, which is
Braves, yeah.
But yeah, I think it should be a good series, I'm thinking. But because both these teams are red hot, I'm a little scared because of Tanaka and CeCe pitching, where this year the two of them are very unpredictable so far.
CeCe, I'm interested to see especially because last year he was like the stopper, like, when he would go out after a rough start by someone else and just, put an end to it. But this is his own. He's been really good for the most part, even though he was on the DL, but last time out, the rain shortened and he was, he didn't really have it. It was his worst start of the year. So I'm interested to see how he bounces back. And, it's hard to say that I'm looking forward to playing a team that is as hot as the Nationals, especially when they did that as Bryce Harper has been in a slump. But, it's CeCe. You got to trust him, right? Tanaka, is going to give up a couple of home runs.
Against it's tough to trust anyone against Scherzer. Let me just give you some of Scherzer's numbers this year in his starts. Scherzer in every one of his starts has gone at least 5 innings. He has not given up any more than 2 earned runs in any start this year, and he struck out at least 7 guys in each one of the starts.
Awesome. Sign me up.
So, and I believe he's only had 1 start that was not a quality start, and that was against the Braves. So
that seems good.
He had 4 walks in that game, right? So he threw a lot of pitches early.
He only had a couple of walks, but he had 5 runs, only 2 were earned, 2 walks. So one of those starts.
What's really interesting going into this series is that a lot of guys in the lineup, the Yankees lineup, are struggling as well too. You seem like Stanton's getting hot, Judge is hitting pretty well. We lose the DH though, so those guys are going to be playing the corners. Either you're going to have Judge or Gardner sitting. I'm guessing they're going to bench Gardner against the lefty Gonzalez tomorrow, and they'll start. Yeah, and then they'll start Gardner against Scherzer. But you have one less bat. I'm not really going to expect Tanaka or CeCe to do anything other than sack, punt, and strike out. So you're going to have someone like Didi pick it up again. I don't think you can continue looking to guys like Glaber or Neil Walker at the bottom to be the heroes. You're going to have someone up top like Didi get back into the swing of things, especially losing the DH for 2 games.
Yeah, you really need Didi to get back into things because he's 260 at this point. Man, I can't get over how Didi went from just the hottest man in baseball to the coldest man in baseball. It's a crazy sport, but
now his batting average is really only just a few ticks higher than Giancarlo for all the crap that we gave him to start, right?
Yeah, it just shows you how fast things could change, right? The Nationals, though, they currently do not have a 300 hitter. Their hitter with the highest average is Harry Kendrick, who's hitting just a tick under 300. Obviously, Trey Turner is having himself an okay year. He really hasn't lit things up. Yeah, Harper's only hitting 236. He's got the power numbers, 13 homers and 30 RBIs, but listen to this. 236 average, 400 on base percentage for Harper. So he's still getting on base.
Well, that's because no pitcher wants to pitch to him.
Yeah,
they're not giving him anything.
Who's behind him in the lineup? What is to be gained by pitching to Bryce as opposed to behind him?
Yeah, I want to say last night it was Kendrick that was batting cleanup.
Yeah, he's been, other than Harper, he's probably been their best. Matt Adams has 10 homers so far. So
that's a renaissance right there.
Where is he playing for them? Is he in the outfield or first?
He's the left fielder.
Yeah,
and he's actually not terrible in the outfield.
He lost a bunch of weight from when he was with St. Louis, so he's more spry.
I think the Nationals have a good enough enough good hitters that I'd say it's more of just a pure slump for Bryce than it is like people not wanting to pitch to him.
Mm.
Adams has 10 home runs. You got to respect it. Kendrick's batting 300. Now they have Mark Reynolds. I think he's probably just in a slump. He hit that home run yesterday though that was such a shot that the outfielders literally didn't even move. But they have enough good hitters on the roster that they should be able to find someone who can adequately protect him. I just think he's just not hitting right now.
Yeah, someone that on the Nationals that's really had a rough go at things. Michael Taylor's hitting 186.
Michael A. Taylor?
Yeah, and it's not just small sample size either. He's has 145 at bats, and he's hitting 186 with 3 homers.
That's not very good.
253 on the Yeah, the Nationals lineup definitely doesn't scare you by any means, but I've always said this about the Nationals, and obviously this talking about postseason, but the Nationals are a team that I would just hate for the Yankees to face in a World Series because
they have to win a playoff series for that to happen first.
Look, I was about to say you got to get out of the NLDS first, but
guys, it's the year for the Capitals are in the finals, and they look like they might be going to the Stanley Cups. It might be the year for Washington to break the curses.
Make the conference finals, then the Wizards could make it. Any Nationals can make it. Any Washington team can make it. I never thought.
Let's be honest. The Wizards can't make it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, okay, you're right. But no, seriously, the Nationals. That's a team that you see Game 1 Scherzer and Game 2 Strasburg.
In Game 4 Scherzer.
Yeah, that's hell. That's literally hell. I would give me any other NL team other than those two guys because that's all I care about when it comes to postseason. It's all right, do you have two back-to-back starting pitchers that could shut my team down? Okay, I don't want to face you.
All right, can we throw Severino on 0 days rest?
Sevy game.
And remember the Yankees
Tanaka too. You can throw Tanaka because he's good in the postseason.
The Yankees only had a shot against the Astros because Charlie Morton laid an egg in Game 3, and then they got to the bullpen in Games 4 and 5.
Exactly.
You face a guy like Verlander who just owns you and goes out and dominates. You have no shot in those games.
Yeah,
no.
Really, people don't get this. People who really never played baseball or just aren't that big of baseball fans. They just don't get this. When a guy like Verlander, a guy like Scherzer's just dealing, but why can't they hit them? It's nothing. There's literally nothing you could do. You're just trying to work this guy, trying to get his pitch count up, trying to get him the hell out of there.
Whatever you're gonna try and do, he's already thinking you're gonna do that, and he's one step ahead of you.
Verlander in that postseason was just nails. He just breaks your heart, but he was just phenomenal. And,
Yankees Twitter was like that when we lost our 9-game winning streak. The first game they lost in the stretch when they got absolutely annihilated by Charlie Morton. People were like, "Oh, well, he's terrible." It's look at his numbers. He's having a phenomenal year, and he has no hit stuff tonight. He actually carried a no hitter into the 6th inning, right? You have to understand that when a guy's in the zone, you have no shot. Just own it.
That's baseball.
Let's also not forget that Brian Cashman should be fired because he didn't trade for Verlander.
I thought you were going to say Garrett Cole.
Oh, yeah, and Cole, too, yeah.
If only there was a way.
Every pitcher that's on the Astros should be on the Yankees right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did just have a 16 strikeout game, so I can see why when we have to watch Sonny Gray go out there and lay an egg, I can see why that would be a sensitive subject for Yankee fans.
A little bit.
Justin Verlander, the cost for that would have been a lot higher, I think, for the Yankees since their system is so loaded. People are just going to ask for things
Yeah. Well, no, and with Verlander, the Astros traded for him the end of August, and the Yankees got Gray at the beginning of August. So they would have had to go an entire month with Jaime Garcia as their main number 5 starter even. So that could have, not been good.
Yeah, very bad. Since we're talking about starting pitchers and trades, this summer, I think it goes without saying that the Yankees are going to add a starting pitcher this summer. And if they don't add a starting pitcher, then they're going to add, just maybe even add another bullpen guy and just, make the game over by the end of the 5th if they can add a starter. But, I wrote an article a week or so ago about how I think the Yankees should get Bumgarner. And I know he's hurt right now. I know it depends on him coming back. But what are some starting pitchers other than Bumgarner? Because obviously Bumgarner, I think, is just a big prize. Who are some other starting pitchers who would be reasonable to get that you would want to see the Yankees get in the summer? that you
Right now, I think there's one because we talked about Danny Duffy a couple weeks ago, and he is atrocious right now. I wouldn't come near that.
Awful this year. Andrew,
Cole Hamels
me and Andrew were just talking about that because I have a fantasy team that I had Danny Duffy on. Andrew has one, and we both dropped him because he did like 3 innings yesterday. He gave up 9 runs to the Indians or something like that.
Yeah, but it's not even like one bad start. His one good start was the previous start. He went like 6 innings, got the win. But he's like 1-6 with an ERA of I think 8 or 9.
His ERA is really bad.
Not to totally poo-poo your article, but I mean Madison Bumgarner, as awesome as he was in the postseason throughout his, first several years of his career, I'd be super concerned about him missing a big chunk of the season last year with an injury and then missing another big chunk this year.
That was a freak accident. He got hurt in a motorcycle thing. That wasn't a baseball related injury.
I guess, but it's still. I mean, I don't know. It's a concern for me. I mean, if you can get him, then by all means get him. But I'm still concerned about it. Like, I'd maybe look for someone a little bit younger with less miles on the tires. I don't know.
Well, then you could go the Luigi route and say the Yankees are going to trade for Garrett Cole because the Astros are just going to give him up for nothing.
Because they're gonna DFA him, right, Luigi?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, you got to sell high.
Going into the season, man, Garrett Cole was just fucking shit, and now he's the best pitcher in baseball. But I mean, with Bumgarner, I would take Bumgarner literally dirt biking his way to the games right now and pitching over Sonny Gray. Bumgarner could do whatever he wants. I literally would take Madison Bumgarner.
He can throw right. He'd probably be better.
All those dirt mounds in the Bronx.
Yeah, exactly. Great place to dirt bike. But seriously, Madison Bumgarner in the postseason is just insane. I mean, it's just that third run. I remember I kept saying to myself, he's not going to do this again, is he?
I don't know. His last start in the playoffs, he did give up a home run to Jake Arrieta. So
yeah, you're right.
And then didn't he get a home run off Arrieta? Wasn't that the game where both pitchers went deep off each other in the playoffs?
I want to say he did, but
maybe that happened in the regular season.
I think it was the regular season.
That 2.14 career postseason ERA, man, just
his World Series ERA is like 0.3, right?
Yeah. I believe he's given up a total of 2 earned runs and 5 or 6 World Series starts. I mean, it's just insane.
Oh my God.
Madison Bumgarner in the starting, because look, right now, are you confident with a rotation of Sevy, Massa, CC, Gray?
Oh God,
I'm not.
No.
Against friggin'.
I would sooner slot in Montgomery before I would, Sonny Gray.
I would slide myself before Sonny Gray.
Bring that up to Cashman, Luigi. Let's see how that works out for you.
I mean, I would actively lose games just like Sonny Gray's doing. So what would be the difference?
They could do
lost in first place.
They could do the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen day before they start Sonny Gray.
Oh yeah, and yeah, right. Bullpen day. Such a great idea. When someone told me the Rays were doing that, I legit thought they were joking. I'm like, wait, you're actually serious?
Hey, it's doing something for them. They're out in last place.
Yeah, you're right. The O's are taking that stress
about
off.
how bad the Orioles are than it does about how good the Rays are.
The Orioles also beat the Rays 17-1 yesterday.
Yeah, Danny Duffy leads the league in earned runs. 34 in 47 innings.
So let's go ahead and answer your question to bring it back full circle. I think there's one answer for a guy the Yankees can trade for. And you know what? Actually, I was going to say Patrick Corbin, but the Diamondbacks are in first place. Why would they trade their ace?
I was about to say.
What do you do?
Andrew, what about Chris Archer?
Yo, let's totally get him, man.
He has a 5.5 ERA this year.
Yeah, and his ERA plus of 103 over the last 3 seasons makes him such a world-class pitcher, man.
Yeah, but like I said, you guys give me flack about Garrett Cole, but it is pretty crazy that what he's doing this year. I mean, is he on pace? Is he still on pace for 300 plus strikeouts? I think he is.
I have no idea.
But yeah, because I remember after that 16 strikeout performance, I think I saw something that he was on pace for like 300 plus strikeouts, and he's been insane. And it just, I mean, that Astros team just going into the postseason, like, we need another starter to compete with that. And even the Red Sox. I mean, I know David Price is like, so I'm just laughing about like the whole Fortnite David Price story right now. But like, I'm just like, the Red Sox. I know Porcello is like not doesn't really scare you, but Sale, Porcello, Price.
Imagine coming up with that as your excuse to not have to face the Yankees.
I mean, dude,
That's true.
The amount of stories I've heard about David Price and just like how soft he is and just how like terrible of like a clubhouse guy. It's actually incredible. Like,
He's like a lesser version of Matt Harvey.
Yeah. Oh, I was about to say, like, it's kind of incredible because the first three starts of the season, he was really good, and like
he was actually good. And then he faced the Yankees and went an inning.
And then then he like goes an inning against the Yankees, leads. You're like, all right. And I literally just checked, I think, like his last start, and I said, oh my god, he's a 5.5 ERA. Like, the first few starts he was doing great. So
he got lit up in Texas. He pitched okay against the Jays the other day.
At least they're not paying him $30 million a year.
Yeah, right. Thank God. It's a weird schedule with the Yankees this week. They just have the 2 games against the Nationals. Then they have another off day Thursday. You don't have an off day for like weeks, then you have 2 in the same week. That's baseball for you. But
can't predict.
Yeah, exactly, Susan. But the Yankees, I don't know if you guys have seen who they're after this 2-game trip against the Nationals. Their next 2 series, after facing that murderer's row of teams, they get a little bit of a break. Both of these series are on the road, so obviously that's always a little obstacle. But
hey. And fun fact, if you guys are following our Snap story, I'll actually have full coverage on one of those road series. I'll be at Globe Life Park for Yankees Rangers Monday through Wednesday of next week, so be sure to tune in there.
Oh,
shameless plug.
Wow, yeah. Shameless plug. Breaking news. We're hearing about it too. But yeah, so Andrew alluded to we're going to be in playing the Rangers in Texas, and before that we got a 3-game set against the Royals, and I think the Royals and Rangers both are in like that category of 10 teams that just are absolutely awful, and I think the Rangers it's more so a little bit more because of injuries. The Royals it's more so because they are just actually really bad. So those should be 2 series that the Yankees should get at least 4 wins out of. Alex and Andrew's boy Danny Duffy is scheduled to start Saturday against her mom.
Dear God,
that should be a good matchup.
Whatever the over is for that game, bet the over.
Yeah, Sonny Gray is also starting the first game. If Sonny Gray can't have a good start against the Royals, like DFA him on the spot, like trade him for whoever, like trade him for Rob Refsnyder. Like I don't care. Friggin' like, come on, you got the Royals. This is your start to just get things going. But who knows? Who knows?
I mean, if miracle worker Austin Romine can't fix him, then I don't know what we're supposed to do. Not to shade Austin Romine. I like Austin Romine, but like that, Jonathan wrote that good article, but I feel like honestly it's gotten a little bit out of hand. Like just because we're all so frustrated by how bad he's been, we're willing to believe literally anything to get it fixed.
Yeah, it's funny because Boone in like spring training was just saying, no, I don't believe in personal catchers, and it's like a month later, like Austin Romine's going to be catching Sonny Gray again, and it's not a knock on Boone. It's just like like Boone doesn't like personal catchers, like he shouldn't, and not even 2 months into the season, he realized like I got to put Romine with Gray because this guy's a freaking head case, and he's just been awful with Sanchez and. Whatever can help, right?
Jose Molina started a World Series game to catch AJ Burnett, so
yeah, that's the classic example, right? But that's all we got for this week.
That's not all we got. We have to actually introduce Matt.
So, you have your least favorite Yankee of all time ready?
He's had it for an hour and a half, Luigi.
Yeah, so I'm going to, I guess, interrupt my own segment before I get to that by saying that since we're talking about Yankees that I don't like, I've truthfully never been the biggest fan of Brett Gardner.
Oh my
He's
God.
not my least favorite of all
True.
time.
It's
though.
true.
So Andrew knows, but so it's gotten better over the last couple of years as I've gotten to respect his ability and just stature on the team as a a leader, and he's a quality. He puts on good at bats and things like that. But I don't know, just never been the biggest fan of the guy. But it's okay because he's coming around. For my least favorite Yankee of all time, it's got to be Sergio Mitre.
Oh.
And it's funny because you can never really remember you can't really pick out any of his countless terrible outings. But the one outing of Sergio Mitre that I do remember was back, I think, in August of 2009. He pitched like into the 6th inning with a perfect game and then left with an injury. But yeah, so he just seemed like one of those guys that was like Girardi just loved him, or maybe he just needed an arm, but it seemed like he pitched all the time and he was just bad. Like he was just, yeah. So that's what I came up with. That's my least favorite of all time.
And we really didn't ask you for a hot take because at this point, we're 16 games above 500. Like if you have a hot take for us, be free to say it. But you don't like the hot takes are more of a preseason thing, so you don't
There's
feel
players who haven't played yet.
You can say that I put my hot takes in article form when I wrote my Brett Gardner piece last week, and then he went out literally that night and had like 3 hits. Plus the RBI triple.
He had the double, the Red Sox game, right?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say all your articles are just hot takes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Can't win them all.
We have other people for that, Luigi.
Right.
I shamed myself in a tweet that night.
Sergio Mitre, as a Yankee in a few years, had a 5.35 ERA with the whip, a 1.4 whip. I was expecting a lot worse, but yeah, I was expecting like a 1.8 whip or something. But
does that include his second tour of duty? We had like a 14 ERA.
That's his total time with the Yanks. But yeah,
Sergio Mitre is still pitching. By the way, he's pitching in like the Mexican League.
Yeah, okay.
Have you guys seen pictures of him though? His hair and his beard, he looks like a homeless guy. He used to have like this short haircut and like the goatee look going on. Now he's got like hair down to his back.
Like hair down to his shoulders and a big thick beard. Like he really does look like a caveman. Like he kind of just walked out of the woods and walked onto the pitcher's mound. Like,
hey man, still doing it though, right? Let's see what team he plays for. The Toros de Tijuana of the Mexican Baseball League. Hey, good for him. But that's all we got.
Still hanging on to the dream.
Still living the dream. But yeah, that's all. It's felt good to get back in the potting spirit. We'll be back for another episode later in the week after the Yankees hopefully take 2 in the nation's capital. We might be watching future Yankee Bryce Harper. I know that makes a lot of people mad, but hey,
it's not a hot take though.
Not a hot take. That's most likely a correct take. But yeah, any final thoughts, guys?
The Yankees don't suck again.
Also, Yeeters.
The Yankees don't suck. As many people thought they did when they were 9-9 and like, guys, are we?
Or when they were.
Wait. How are we going to catch Boston? Like how we're 7.5 back. How are we going to catch the Red Sox?
I think we're going to have to win 17 of 18 to do it.
Can you imagine rooting for a loser team and like the worst of the 2 New York teams? Like the Mets know how to win extra inning games. We can't do anything.
I saw a stat real quick. Gonna end the show, but I saw a stat that like the Mets, it was something in the 90s. Like they had lost 94 yesterday before Sunday's game where they came back. They had lost like 95 straight games where they entered the 9th inning trailing.
What?
Something crazy like that. Like just something that you say, wait, really? Like
it's like a 3-year span, right?
Like just I swear, it was just one of those crazy stats you see that you just don't believe. But hey, that's Mets baseball for you, right? But
Hey, Jacob DeGrom threw 45 pitches in the first inning yesterday.
Oh,
And that got hurt.
And didn't even give up a run, right?
Hey, three walks, gave up, I think it was 19 foul balls in an inning.
Oh, man.
My final thought for the whole thing is that the Giancarlo Homer binge is coming. And it's coming now. And I think
there's his hot take.
Is it really a hot take? The guy had 59 home runs last year. All right, I'll give you a hot take. He's hitting one off of Max Scherzer on Thursday.
Okay.
On Thursday, that's a really hot take.
Sorry, Wednesday.
All right, we out, boys.
Hot takes.
Eaters.